she's a Transformers artist as well as just an artist, I guess I would say. She's also a Transformers fan, and she also does cosplay, and she also happens to be the main head honcho of Garry Chalk's fan page, and she's also his personal assistant. So when he goes to a convention, she helps him out, all that good stuff. So welcome, Candice. Thank you for coming on this little Transformers Spotlight video.
Thank you, John. It's great to be here.
Okay, so first question I have to ask has got to be, how did you first get interested in Transformers?
Oh boy. Well, I was born in 1984, so I was obviously too young to watch it when it came out. I vaguely remember seeing reruns at some point in my young childhood. My brother was into it. He's about a year and a half older than me. And pretty much lost track many years later. 1996 rolls around. Beast Wars. So my brother found that one morning before school. Saw on TV. He said, "Well, Candy, you check this out. It's Transformers." I said, "What are you talking about?" So I walked over there at the TV, and here it was, these animals, and they transform. This is pretty freaking awesome. And then ever since then, Beast Wars took me back to G1. I wanted to watch it again, or at least the movie, because I don't have all the episodes. And I enjoy the movie. And so Beast Wars led to Beast Machines and so forth, and pretty much it.
Oh, very cool. Has art always been a passion of yours, or did that come from Transformers, or did that just kind of merge with Transformers as you...
Merged is a good word. I've always drawn. Didn't always used to be good at it, of course. Just little doodles I remember doing in elementary school here and there. Of course, if I did it too much, I knew I'd be the kid to get in trouble, because that's my kind of luck in school. But, what was it, 94 when The Lion King came out? I was obsessed with that movie, and my sisters and I would collect these little trading cards, and with those cards, since we didn't have DVDs back then to capture screenshots and stuff, these cards I would use, actually I think all of us used, to draw off of, and just, you know, copy, and the more I kept doing that, I guess the better I kept getting, and it just takes a lot of practice. So The Lion King would have to be, and then when Beast Wars came out, I started to get back into it a little more, and I thought, I wonder if I can draw these CG characters. And of course they started out as line art, and I thought, these look like crap. They don't look anything like the show. What do I do to change that? Well, here, it's all the shading and contrasts and things you have to change from color in 3D to pencil. So, and then I really got into it.
Yeah, I gotta say, when I go back and edit and add in the art that you sent me, blew me away. I mean, I used to be a comic book fan a long time ago. I still read some digital issues from the guys that run Sabertron.com, because they have a deal with IDW. So I still go through them. I'm just not as into them as I used to be. There used to be a big difference between something that was in your hand, you know, the smell of the paper, being able to hold the story. Now it's all digital, and for some reason it just doesn't feel like the love of hand drawing these things that they used to do. When it's all done digitally now with digital pads, it's just not quite the same thing anymore. But I was always a big fan of Alex Ross, and your artwork reminds me of Alex Ross, because it looks like you take a real person in a studio and you put them on paper somehow. And you also won an award too, and at one of the conventions at BotCon, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, last BotCon last year. Yeah, second place. Yes. No, I'm just kidding.
You're robbed. That whole thing had to have been rigged. I've seen your stuff. I never got to the level of artistry that you're at. I started drawing Garfield. That was my first.
Oh God, yeah.
And this back when he had the little fat roll on the back of his neck. That was my first, and I got really good at it. I got to where I started where I would trace. And once I got good with the tracing, I basically memorized how to draw a character, and I could draw it side by side, and then I could draw it without any help at all. That was when I was really young. Then I moved on from that. I moved on to drawing Ninja Turtles, and I got so good at drawing turtles that I actually sold my art for $1 a piece at school.
Oh man, nice.
And then I got into drawing Transformers just as sketches. I had one. If I didn't end up being a voice actor, I always wanted to be a comic book artist or maybe a character designer or something like that. And then I see people like you, what you do, and I'm like, I don't need to quit my day job. So how did the whole Garry Chalk fan page, or I don't know what to call it. I feel like the SpongeBob episode where.
Hi, Kevin. My name is Kevin.
That's pretty good. I can only do his laugh, so.
Because it's a dolphin.
I taught my kids' kindergarten class how to do that. 30 kids running around like.
Yes.
Teachers and the parents hated me.
I love that. That's awesome.
So was it just the idea to have a Facebook group, or was this prior to Facebook that you decided to do a fan? I'm not even sure what to call it.
his Facebook, his official Garry Chalk fan Facebook
club. That's the word I'm looking for.
It's a fan club.
Fans. And okay, it started quite a few years ago, actually. A mutual friend of ours had started it on his own accord, and decided to make me kind of a co-administrator, whatever you call it on there. And there was a little conflict, and so he had ended up deleting the whole thing. And I kind of sat there thinking, couldn't you have just made me the owner of the thing instead of deleting everything, all the photos, links, and all the stuff we had, all the information, and the members? And I sat there thinking, I don't know if I should restart it or not, because is that kind of stalkerish, or is it okay to do something like that? And well, I took a risk, and I said, let's get this started again, and I talked to Garry about it, and he was all for it, so it's pretty much how we got back on track with it. And I just wanted somewhere for fans to go, and things you can't do with pages that you can do with groups, or vice versa, or whatever.
I love the concept of fan groups, because it's a place where the person that it's a fan of doesn't have to try to figure out all the stuff that they've done, especially somebody like Garry Chalk, who's been doing this for 30-something years or more, and he's got all the stuff that he doesn't even remember all the stuff that he's done. A lot of these veterans, they don't remember what they did. It was just a job to them before it became popular and they had fans. So just to see the posts that some people post, because I'd seen The Son of the Fly 2. I'd seen that as a kid, and then it never dawned on me until later on. I was like, Garry Chalk's the villain in this.
He's the guy with the gun, yeah.
And then people post up pictures. When I was looking for pictures to put in my Garry Chalk interview, found the picture of him naked. So all these things, people will find this obscure Garry Chalk stuff and videos and picture or cartoon clips. There was that really childish, kiddish type Halloween movie, The Scary Godmother, that he played. He played the werewolf in, and I was like, I know that voice.
Yeah.
So when you find stuff like this, that's the place you can go to post it.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and it's an open group, so anybody out there who wants to join the Garry Chalk fan group can go to Facebook, and I'll put the link in the video when I edit this. So was that the springboard point for becoming his assistant? Was the fan group?
I don't think so necessarily. He had become friends with someone who was fairly new to being a convention agent, and so she and I had met a couple years ago in Maryland at a convention, and she, I don't know, knew that I knew him fairly well as a friend, and thought, hey, if you can come to some of these conventions with him and help him out if he needs it, then go ahead and do that. That'd be great. So yeah, of course. Of course, I can't afford all these conventions, so I only pick one here and there, and that's all I can do.
all of us, trust me. Even the pros have to pick and choose their favorites.
Yeah, it's true.
And just for everybody out there who doesn't know, when there's a guest, almost every single one of them have an assistant. If either they have one already, like Gary already has Candice, or they have someone chosen for them at the convention when they get there, something like that. So I know that our mutual friend Lee Tokar, his lovely friend Sherry does all his convention stuff and he's with him, so that's normal for somebody to have somebody there to help them out. So it helps them know. They have to remind them where they're supposed to be. They help, keep the lines moving promptly. And if the fan decides to give a 3-hour story about how, they were fans since childbirth and decided to give a very detailed, it's like, okay, that way sometimes they have to be the bad guy instead of the person that they're a fan of. I'm sure you've had those situations. But you've not only assisted him at conventions, though, you've also been a guest at least one convention that I know of. So how did that, was that more than what you expected? Because I was so happy to see that you were a featured artist at SavCon last year. That was pretty awesome.
Oh, SavCon! God,
you forgot I could look this up.
No, I was a guest? Which one was I a guest? And I got paid. Oh, wait, no, I wasn't. Yeah, SavCon, that's mostly because I'm on the committee. I'm part of the whole
the self-appointed gift. That's going to be awesome.
I'm technically just the guest liaison and the fan artist, where I draw up a print to go out in the pre-registered packages that people can have, and I'll sign it if they want. But otherwise, I wasn't really there for panels or questions or anything. Right. I did sell some artwork, but that was too much of a distraction to take care of the guests, so I won't be doing that anymore. But. I'll have the prints. They'll have prints in the packages.
You sold some at DragonCon last year too, didn't you?
I sold maybe 2 or 3.
Yeah, DragonCon's that thing. It's almost as big as Comic-Con is. That thing is huge. I regretted not being able to go last year, but I had a conflict in scheduling where I couldn't make it because most of the guests I'd already met, but there was a couple there that I really would have liked to have met. Or met again, because I know Terry Strong was there, Gary was there. I wanted to, hang out with him again. John Rhys Davies was there. I've always wanted to meet him. I'm the monarch of the sea.
I had no idea he and Gary knew each other, and he comes
really?
over to Gary's table and introduces me to him, and I thought, what the hell is going on here?
That was a funny moment.
Okay. But your brother was there. I did see Craig.
Yeah.
So
See,
cool.
that's he's allowed to go to DragonCon because he lives in their backyard. It's so unfair.
Oh.
It's a 9 to 11-hour drive with me, depending on who's riding with me. And for a 2-hour flight, I just don't feel like paying $800. So I hate Memphis's flight. So when did the cosplay stuff start? Because I know that you were. Believe it or not, you may not have known it, but you were very popular at BotCon for the Catwoman costume that you did. I had just dozens of friends going, did you see the hot Catwoman? I was like, I'm friends with Catwoman.
Let's see. Oh, jeez. I guess I could go back to when I started making my Stargate SG-1 costume. And it was really for Halloween, but I was going all out. I bought, off of eBay, I think it was this authentic from the show themed jacket, and you bought the patches, so I sewed them on, and the pants and the vest, and the boots from other sites. Sorry?
Brave person. You made it yourself. Oh man.
But that was just for Halloween, and I didn't really think.
That's a lot of trouble for some candy.
I didn't think much about it. And so I had that for a couple years. And then I started wearing it at conventions maybe 2 or 3 years ago at Maryland. Maryland has a shore leave convention, it's called. It's basically sci-fi and stuff.
Right.
And people got a kick out of it. I thought, this is really fun to just walk around in a costume and be someone else.
And you feel like a freaking celebrity, especially girls like you, that you not only are you beautiful, just going to say that, but you're in a costume and you usually dress like somebody's favorite somebody, and there's people stopping you every 5 seconds. Can I get a picture? Can I get a picture? Can I get a picture? It's like, it's what it feels like to be, live in Hollywood and be a movie star.
It does. It does for like a brief, for a brief minute.
My friend Sean got got that super expensive movie replica Batman suit, and he is nothing short of a nerd in real life. But you would think the guy was, you would think he was Arnold Schwarzenegger or Matt Damon or somebody walking around at Comic-Con, because everybody wanted to stop and get his picture just because he was in a Batman costume. I'm like, dang it, the only cosplay I could probably pull off is the Blob from Marvel.
Oh, for crying out loud, Sean.
I thought about making me a giant face and I could be MODOK and just float around with my... I saw a great MODOK costume with Dragon Gun on. I could totally pull that off. Anyways, anything else that you'd like to add to this little interview before we take off?
Yeah. Speaking of the cosplay thing, there is also a cosplay page that a friend, Charles Piner, and I run on Facebook. It's called Jaska's cosplay page, I believe. Jaska, J-A-S-K-A.
Type that out for me, and I'll add a link up there where people that way it'll be easier for.
Yes.
You're welcome.
And we just want to invite everyone who cosplays or fans of cosplaying, everyone who's a big part of it, to just come. Doesn't matter what you enjoy, Marvel, DC Comics, My Little Pony, He-Man, doesn't matter. Everybody come on over and join our page, and it's a lot of fun. Charles is really, really nice guy.
Very cool. And I'll also add on Garry Chalk's fan group. I'll add that link on here as well. And do you have any plans for any upcoming conventions that they can go see your artwork?
Not until Florida SuperCon.
Okay, cool.
Which is, what is that, July 4th to 7th or something like that, down in Florida. Miami.
I recently got asked by the Screen Junkies channel that I do the Honest Trailers. They may be flying me out for VidCon this year, which would be my first time going to VidCon. We're going to do a live Honest Trailer.
Oh.
I hope that works out, because free trip to California.
Oh.
And I'll be at Sharticon as a guest this year. That's in August. And actually, the guys that invited me there as a guest were in the panel that I did at SAPCon, and they were very impressed. So, and I will also be a guest at Anime BluesCon here in Memphis alongside Steve Bloom from Transformers Prime. So,
very nice. Very cool.
Anyways, I will put all the links for Candice. Thank you so much for being on the show, and keep up the great work. I'm so jealous of your talent and being able to draw the pictures you draw. That Robert Downey Jr. picture it looks like Robert Downey Jr. is on paper is so awesome.
Thank you, John. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Maybe send Candice a fan invite, and add all the annotations as well as all the convention listings and times. And so thanks everybody.